So we're here today with Lord Munjal, who's the founder and CEO of Alpheva AI. How you doing today, Lord?
I'm doing fantastic, Jacob. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, love to have you here on this podcast with us. Let's go ahead and get right into it. I'd love to hear from you the story behind how you started Alpheva AI, kind of first and foremost.
Sure. So, Jacob, I have a deep expertise in financial services sector and technology domain. And over the past many years, we have seen this problem on regular basis that barring the top 1%, so the remaining 99% either do not have access to good quality financial advice or they have to pay arm and a leg to get that financial advice. So for the top 1% of the country, you have all the major institutions, including a couple of my previous employers like Citibank, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and then many more. And for the remaining 99%, they struggle with financial decisioning, financial advisory, and maybe the other 2-3% of the 99% have access to some form of financial advisory, but then these financial advisors charge a very large amount of money from these individuals. And for the remaining 95-96%, there is nothing in the market. Now, with AI, a paradigm of financial advisory shifted because the cost to give financial advice using the AI models and marrying the AI models with your unique personal financial situation could now lead to providing a financial advice to the other 99% at 1/10 of the cost that it was earlier. Also, LLMs advanced a lot. Since last year, we have seen massive strides being made by the LLM models that we are using, as a result of which, with Alpheva, we ingest a person's unique financial information coming to us through their banking APIs. So your bank accounts, your credit accounts, your mortgage accounts, your other loan accounts. We also have a AI chat conversation with these users whereby we talk to them about their financial goals. Some people have goals like, I want to buy a beach house, or I want to travel the world, or I want to take a sabbatical, or I want to pay tuition for my children, or I want to have a destination wedding. So these goals are very unique to the individuals. Some people have goals around, I want to save at least this much. So using Alpheva, which is a short form for Alpha Evaluator, Alpha being excess financial returns in financial services, we are using or harnessing the power of AI and leveraging the open banking API information on the customers with their due consent to give them the best possible financial advice at a fraction of the cost. So I hope that answers your question in a long-winded manner.
No, absolutely. I mean, and that's one of the things that I think is so interesting about AI, is we're still so early on in the journey that, it's not really fully known or able to be comprehended to see where all it can fit into, these types of situations. For you, you kind of took some new advancements in AI and the industry knowledge that you have, and you kind of married the two. And, I think a lot of people are still so stuck in just putting prompts in for Chat GPT, and that's kind of the extent of where they go for AI. And I had been a culprit of that myself, for quite some time. But, the advancements and really how it can help to like you said, I mean, help folks out, help people to reach their goals and get some of these, services that they used to get that were expensive. A lot of people didn't want to get financial advice because it cost an arm and a leg to even get it. And so having something like this where it can open doors for people to be able to take those vacations, to plan their life around, what they are able to, able to confidently put aside is something that's, opening multiple doors for people. So I love that. Um, I'm curious, from your perspective on, and I know you guys are how long into the journey? Is it like 3 or 4 months? This is pretty new, right?
Yeah, so just to give you a background, what Alpheva is doing was not even possible early last year because
Yeah.
LLM models were not that advanced for us to provide AI-driven financial advice. And when we saw that the models are now advanced enough for us to leverage, uh, and combining that information with the personal customized knowledge base containing your own financial goals, containing your own current financial status, containing your FICO, containing the different loan products, different brokerage products that you may have. Now only we are in a position to get this best possible financial advice driven by the power of AI to the individual. So you're right, we are barely 3 months old.
Wow. I love it. So I guess from your perspective, thinking about your business as a whole, and not so much just the concept of what it is that you guys do, but for you personally over these few months, I mean, what's been the biggest factor in growing your reach or your impact to try and get the word out to, people that something like this is available?
Yeah. So Jacob, we are only offering early access to the users at this point of time. So if you're an early user, early believer in AI-driven financial advisory, I encourage you, all the viewers, listeners of this podcast, to come to alpheva.com and get your early access for Alpheva. And using Alpheva now, you can integrate your banking accounts, your brokerage accounts, your loan accounts, provide us your personal financial goals, your current situation. If you're single, then input that data, provide us your tax information, and everything is very easy. In 5 to 7 minutes, everything would be integrated into Alpheva app. So this way, the AI agents of Alpheva can start providing you the best possible advice. So we were going to do a mass launch in the next couple of months, but till that time, Jacob, we are keeping it for early users only.
No, it makes total sense. I mean, it's something that especially just this early on, it's like how can we confidently kind of get the ball rolling while getting the word out there, but also not trying to, do too much until we're ready to do that, right? Like that makes a lot of sense to me. I am curious, for more of the expanded launch. I know you have the early sign up period right now. For your expanded launch, I mean, how are you planning on really really growing that reach? Are you guys doing a lot of advertising? Are you kind of bringing different AI tools into how you're able to even get the word out to folks, or is it more just been word of mouth so far?
So it's been more word of mouth so far, but when we do a formal launch of Alpheva, we have alliances in place with neobanks. So think of Acorn, Chime kind of financial
Hmm.
institutions. We are also in talks with various other financial institutions whereby, as alliance partner with Alpheva, we would do some kind of cross promotion. They would encourage their users to use Alpheva for their financial advisory because banks don't provide financial advice to the retail customers. Similarly, there are employers with whom we have tie-ups whereby these employers can offer a Alpheva AI tool to their employees to manage and plan their finances better on go forward basis. So these are some of the strategies we are using. Besides, uh, there are a lot of influencers who have huge followings when it comes to financial advisory. So these influencers are also tying up with Alpheva to promote Alpheva when the time comes for our big bang launch.
I love that. Yeah, you're kind of covering, excuse me, covering it from multiple angles, and it sounds like that vision is there. In terms of how can we, use the resources that we have and the partnerships that we have, but also, be able to get a little creative in getting influencers into the mix and things like that. How big is the team, Lord?
So in this day and age, you don't need way too many people to
Sure.
run a company like Alpheva. We have a few individuals working in the engineering side, and then few on the ops side, few on the product strategy side, and then few on the alliance side, doing alliances with the other companies where there is a symbiotic relationship between what Alpheva is doing and what they are doing.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. You kind of tying in everything in terms of just getting the bones and the structure created. And, like you said, I mean, at this day and age, you don't necessarily need to throw more bodies into the mix. It's more about how can we get creative and use the tools and the relationships that we have once we're kind of there.
Totally.
Um,
As an AI company, you have to walk the talk, and there are a lot of subject matter experts who are talking about one person run billion-dollar company that could happen, hopeful in the next couple of years to the world. One person running a billion-dollar enterprise is not outside the realm of possibilities now.
Not at all. No, not at all. And that's what's so interesting to me is that, the more that AI evolves, I mean, you can start to utilize an AI tool that can help you to do exactly what, a normal sales team would do in terms of your outreach, in terms of your, expansion kind of perspective and opportunities that are there. There's so many things out there that, like you said, I mean, you can get a lot of this off the ground yourself and be that kind of face of the business, but also things are just running in the background, and people don't even realize how many things there are out there to do that. I'm curious, what would you say has been the most surprising challenge or insight that you've encountered since launching so far?
See, the most surprising insight since launching this far has been the struggle that even the smartest of the people with no finance background have been dealing with. We had a lot of discovery calls while we were launching features within Alpheva. And those discovery calls are happening as we speak, even now too, because we want to incorporate the feedback that our customers have to provide to Alpheva so that we can build the second layer of the features according to the liking of the people. So the biggest insight that I have come across in these over 100 customer discovery calls is one would think that if you have a quant or a math background, you probably are well versed with financial decisioning, or at least better in financial decisioning. But it turns out that if you don't have a finance background, you struggle with that financial decisioning. To give you an example, imagine Joe Schmo, who is having a strong background in quant or mathematics, looking for a best possible credit card for himself or his family members. Generally, Joe would go online, do a basic research, maybe go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, hey, which credit card works best for me? Or maybe open the mailbox and see which credit card company had given him the best possible sign up rewards offer and basically sign up for that credit card. But it's not that simple. For Joe Schmo to maximize his returns, he has to provide his 6 months of spend statement, and he doesn't have to manually provide. He can come to Alpheva, log in. We are super secure, and now through APIs like Plaid, he can share his financial information in like 2 minutes with Alpheva. Alpheva AI agents ingest the information from Joe, understand his expense pattern, And then based on past 3, 6, 9 months, whatever data is available, it has to be at least 3 months. Otherwise, the volatility in expense is way too high. But three
Sure.
to 9 months of data, Alpheva could tell Joe, hey, Joe, you know what? You're better off with a card 2 product than the current card that you have, because this way you can maximize your reward points and save even additional dollars. So a second question is, let's say you have a mortgage. Your mortgage is at, I'm just making up the numbers, 7.5%. But
Sure.
over the last many years, you have paid down your principal balance. It's way lower. Your credit profile has improved too. So now let's say, looking at the same credit profile that you have now, which is better than how it was earlier, you pose this question to Alpheva, and Alpheva already has access to your mortgage account. So we can also nudge Joe. Hey, Joe, listen, your mortgage is at way higher percentage point. And even after we factor in cost of re-underwriting, cost of reprocessing your loan, you can save this much by switching to a better mortgage product than you have currently. So Alpheva works as a fiduciary to Joe, in this case, providing Joe the best possible suggestions. Third, slightly more complex example for people with no finance background could be capital loss harvesting, right? So let's say you are very optimistic about a Chinese ETF, okay? And you have in China, for some reason, ETF incurred losses. So you bought it for $100 and now it is at $80, ETF1 from China, let's say. You could get a nudge from Alpheva saying that, hey, Joe, you can harvest these capital losses by reducing your tax burden when the time comes for your tax filing. All you have to do is sell Chinese ETF1, and we understand that you're still optimistic about Chinese ETF and there is a huge upside there. Why don't we get you a Chinese ETF2, which has the same portfolio construction as ETF1? So net, it's a similar product, just the label is different, and now you buy that for $80. So this way you are able to harvest the capital losses from ETF1, reduce your tax burden, and still have a similar portfolio construction as you had earlier. So many people struggle with these very simple financial advisory items, which can help them save far more, reduce their tax burden, and help them achieve or accomplish their financial goals in a more seamless, less frictionful manner.
Absolutely. I mean, it just sounds like Alpheva, I mean, you're covering all angles, right? It's not just one, one size fits all. It's, you come to us and you really have endless opportunities for any types of financial decisions that you're making. It's not just, are you planning accordingly for your future? It's let's get more granular and figure out, are you making the right moves to get to that point? So
Totally. Our marketing came up with a tagline for Alpheva, which is 10x better than Goldman and 1x better than Buffett. So Buffett is a role model when it comes to investing, and I can tell you that Alpheva will do just as good a job when it comes to financial advisory for an average individual as Goldman would at a fraction of the cost.
yeah, absolutely. No, and I know, we talked a little bit about insights. I mean, what do you feel like has been your biggest challenge in getting this off the ground, just being a few months in so far?
Sure. So biggest challenge has been around finessing the AI agents that we have. So imagine you have a credit AI agent looking at your credit profile. You have a goal AI agent looking at your personal financial goals. You have your market agent marrying the information with what is happening currently in the market. So every single hour, every single moment, things change. Wars happen, tariffs happen,
Hmm.
uh, policies change, rates could change. as a result of which the financial picture or the financial forecast for you could change as well. So, you know, playing with the different weights for these agents, making sure we provide the best possible financial advice under all these circumstances, stress testing different scenarios has been something that is taking up a lot of our time, a lot of our bandwidth in terms of engineering development.
No, that makes sense. I mean, it's like you said. I mean, it's ever changing, not only in, the part of what the AI agents are capable of doing, that's its own thing, but really like, the what's going on in the world. I mean, the financial industry is something that is so reliant on things that are out of your control primarily, and so it's like, how can you bridge that gap in a way that is, getting this to be a well-oiled machine, but also, knowing when you have to maybe take a step back and realize like, hey, there's different factors into this that we weren't even really thinking about, necessarily, or maybe we were thinking about it, but they still have to be addressed. And how can we confidently, pivot in areas with this if we need to? So that makes a lot of sense. I'm curious. I know you're looking for a full launch in a couple of months. I mean, where do you want to be with the business 6 to 12 months from now?
Sure. So if you break down the numbers, there are 220 million adult Americans who don't have access to financial advice. Okay.
Wow, that's staggering.
Yeah. So the market is huge, and that's US alone.
Yeah.
Product like Alpheva could cater to you irrespective of whichever country you're operating in. We are just starting with US because the banking APIs are unique to every country. So banking API for US would be very different from a banking APIs for UK, which would be very different for banking APIs for Brazil. So in the next 6 to 12 months, our focus is US market alone. And of the 220 million adult Americans who don't have access to financial advice, think about it this way. If we get 1% of that market in the next 6 to 12 months, that is 2.2 million adult Americans. Currently, Alpheva is available for free because we want as many customers to play with the product, provide us their feedback while we are giving early access. But at some point of time in future, this will be having a freemium product offering. So call it, and we want to make it as cheap as possible. So we are thinking of pricing it around $10 a month. So 2.2 million people paying just $10 a month, which is, 2 cups of coffee, maybe even less a month spent per person. And now you have the best of the financial advice, which is catering to your own unique financial situation and helping you achieve your own financial goals, because no two people have the same financial situation and no two people have the same financial goals.
Right.
So it's super customized for you, and that's what we are trying to accomplish in the next 12 months window.
Yeah. So really, I mean, from what you've kind of forecasted out, the goal right now would be to capture 1% of the market, in the next 6 to 12 months. What do you feel like? Well, my mouse just that was interesting. What do you feel like? I guess if you had a magic wand, just kind of go with me on this. I mean, what if you had to fix just one thing in the business that's holding you back or slowing you down, to get to that 1% or even potentially surpass that and get to 2%? I mean, what would that one thing be?
I think one thing would be optimization of the AI agents. We want to
Hmm.
make sure that every AI agent is capable of taking a holistic view of your personal financial situation, which includes ingesting, as I mentioned earlier, your brokerage account, banking account, credit accounts, or any other accounts that you may have, any other obligations that you may have, any other elements of your personal finance. Some people owe money to their friends. Some people expect an inheritance from the previous generation. Some people have to plan for their kids' financial future. So ingesting all this information and making sure that each and every agent is conversing amongst themselves in the best possible manner to provide you the best possible output. So reinforced learning is a standard feature in all the AI companies, where as we give you a answer to your question, there would be a very simple button for thumbs up and a button for thumbs down. If you say thumbs up, then the backend recognizes that, and now that reinforces the positive feedback that you gave. Similarly, if you do thumbs down, it also reinforces the negative feedback you gave, which means that when you come to Alpheva tomorrow, it's even smarter to respond to you tomorrow than it is today. And imagine all those millions of people giving thumbs up or thumbs down to the responses makes the system self-improving and even smarter every single moment, because we process all of that information through reinforced learning for our agents.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's the AI agents could do so much on their own in terms of just the constant, like you said, the constant learning, the constant refreshing, all of that. But really, and tools like this and most tools, it really is incumbent upon the human reaction to that. And how do we feel this is helping us, and where do we feel like this can improve? And once you kind of get a bigger landscape and a bigger sample size of that, you're able to really refine what our agents are looking to accomplish and how well that's being perceived. And so I think that makes a ton of sense. I'm curious, kind of fun question for you. Like, what do you feel like has been the most fun part of this? Or what do you feel like, what part of your work energizes you the most?
I think everything about Alpheva energizes me the most. There is not even a single thing which I don't like about Alpheva. I like interacting with the engineering team to sharpen the pencil on our engineering. I like customer discovery calls because there is so much that we can incorporate into Alpheva. And the future prospects with Alpheva. Imagine right now, Alpheva is just AI-based financial advisory. At some point of time in its life journey, it will become agentic. And by that, what I mean is that, let's say, Jacob, you have an account with Alpheva, and now your bank account, your credit account, your loan portfolio is all integrated with Alpheva. Okay. Jacob gets a salary today. Alpheva realizes that too, because we are connected to your bank account, and we give you a nudge. Hey, Jacob, you have enough provisioning done for emergency day funds. You have many, many years left for your working life, taking into account your retirement goals. So you have this money, which you just got. If you give us your consent, we can move this money to a brokerage account and buy a S&P 500 ETF with very low fee for you, because hypothetically speaking, let's say S&P 500 is trading at a very attractive multiple. So now, because S&P 500 is trading at a very attractive multiple, you got a nudge saying that, hey, why don't we move this salary to this brokerage account? And Jacob says, yeah. And of course, there is two-factor authentication, so that tomorrow Jacob cannot blame Alpheva saying that, oh, you know what, I was drunk. So I said, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but keeping aside the checks and balances in place, the money moves from Jacob's current account to the brokerage account. Second scenario to the same situation, the question is posed to Jacob that, hey, can we move this money to the S&P 500 account? Jacob says, no, you know what? I'm going on a world trip for 6 months, so I would need this money. Hey, Jacob, that's okay. How about we move this to your other high yield savings account so you can keep that money parked there, but rather than earning 25, 30 basis points, there your APY, annual percent yield, would be over 4%. And Jacob says, yes, that makes sense. So this way, Jacob is able to multiply his wealth over a period of time, save more. And similarly, Alpheva also has a spending agent, which is taking into account your spending patterns and then nudging you how you can save money, which means, let's say Jacob is paying a top dollar for a cable connection. So Alpheva would tell Jacob that, hey, listen, Jacob, you're better off by downgrading your plan to a different type of cable connection, or maybe a competitor's cable connection, which will save you this much money. And now decisioning is left to Jacob. But if Jacob says yes, the agent, you know, unsubscribes the current cable connection and subscribes Jacob to the new connection. So that's the direction in which the world is heading. And I'm super excited to answer your question about all the prospects, or all the amazing things that we could potentially do for Jacob as a customer.
Absolutely. I love that. I can just feel the energy, and the passion around this. And that's, always something that it's palpable. It's transferable. I can feel how excited you are about this, and I love that. And so this has been fantastic. Thank you for answering all of these questions. And for our audience, like Lord said, they're changing the landscape and the way that the financial planning, world is going. And so, everybody go to alpheva.com, alpheva.com. And we really appreciate your time, Lord.
And I would also say one more thing. I encourage everyone to play with the product. And if you have any feedback for us, I strongly encourage you to write to me personally as we build the next layer of features for Alpheva. You can reach me at Lord, Lord, at Alpheva, which is spelled the same way as Jacob spelled, .com. So lord@alpheva.com. I welcome any feedback that you may have about making the product even better for your specific use case.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for your time, Lord. And yeah, everybody, like you mentioned, you have his contact information, and look forward to seeing where Alpheva can go from here. So
Wonderful. Thank you, Jacob, for having me.
thank you. All right.